Alan Robinson, Mark Kaboly, your Steeler beat reporters. I'm Justin LeBar coming to you from the south side here at the Steelers facility. Coming off a loss against the New England Patriots, a very embarrassing loss. I think many would agree. They have a home game this week, guys, against the Buffalo Bills. A couple former Steelers on that team. Let's talk about Steeler personnel. First, let's talk about Antonio Brown, benched towards the end of the last game.
Yeah, just for the final possession. If you're Antonio Brown, aren't you thinking maybe a little bit right now, I'm getting picked on a little bit. Here's a guy that was called out last week by Ben Roethlisberger, who said he needs to be more accountable. This week, his head coach sits him down for the last series because he ran a pass route incorrectly that led to an interception. Look, the guy has had an outstanding season. He might be the MVP on this team right now. He leads the NFL with 61 receptions. He also has caught more passes and fewer targets than any wide receiver in the league. He has a higher percentage of receptions than anybody in the league. The Steelers' problems go way, way, way beyond Antonio Brown and the fact he's a little bit emotional sometimes. Maybe more players on this team need to be a little bit more emotional. I'm just saying, it seems to me like Antonio Brown gets singled out too much sometimes for a guy who actually is having probably the best season of anybody on the team.
Well, somebody else who's been getting singled out on the opposite side of the ball is the longtime defensive coordinator Dick LeBeau. Mark Kaboly, it was something that was brought up to the players. They, of course, very passionate and defend their defensive leader. What is your take on this entire, I don't say blame game, but questions about Dick LeBeau and his scheme?
Well, first of all, I think Dick LeBeau has a resume stacked enough that we know he can get the job done, but that doesn't say we shouldn't be questioning how it's going about. So that's all fair game in my eyes right there. You saw what Mike Tomlin said on Tuesday. He's Dick LeBeau. That's why he deserves a pass. Players in the locker room on Wednesday, same thing. Defended him to the nines on this one. And I tend to agree with him, Justin. There's only so much a coach can put a player in position to succeed until the player has to take responsibility for it. Do you think Dick LeBeau told Troy Polamalu to go the wrong way on the first touchdown against last week? I don't think so. Do you think Dick LeBeau told Ike Taylor to look into the backfield and that long touchdown? I don't think so. When it comes to coaching players, I always believe the players are the ones to blame. Coaches can only put them in so much position to win, be successful. And I think that's where it is. It's just a knee-jerk reaction. 600 yards, 55 points is ugly, but I think Dick LeBeau did all he can do, and believe me, these guys are going to rally around him as much as they can because he is their father, their godfather, their mentor. So once you step into that Dick LeBeau room and start criticizing him, fist goes flying. I mean, words flying. They defend him.
Will the team rally?
One more thing, Justin, too. Almost every team in the National Football League runs something in its defense that came from Dick LeBeau that he innovated. If he was that out of date, you wouldn't be seeing that. You wouldn't see his influence all around the league like you are now. And Dick LeBeau wasn't out there when three Patriots receivers all had more than 120 yards in receptions. One of the few times in NFL history that's ever happened.
Very fair point. All right, guys, are they going to rally together to get a win against Buffalo?
At this point, you just can't go into any game, Justin, and think they're going to win. You just can't do it. If any game they could win, it could be this one, but I'm done picking them. You just can't do it because they're so inconsistent and just they'll play to the level of their competition. I think it's just going to get uglier. I'm saying the Bills are going to win this game 24-21.
The Steelers are in the same situation in 2006. They were 2-6 coming off a Super Bowl year. They rallied in the second half of the year and went 6-2. I just don't see this team doing this. I just don't think it has the personnel. We thought the Steelers were set up for a good second half of the season with 5 of the last 8 at home, 3 of the last 4 in December at home in the cold weather month. And this Buffalo game was a game you circled all year as the game they're going to win. I think they will win it. I think the offense will come alive 34-24. But what you got to worry about is here, Buffalo is one of the best sacking teams in the league. Mario Williams has 11 sacks. He's second in the league. Ben Roethlisberger is the third most sacked quarterback in the league. The Steelers have fallen from number 2 in rushing defense to number 31 this year. Buffalo has a really good running game with 2 solid running backs. Those are things you worry about. And then you also worry about the state of mind of this team, too, right now. I mean, very few guys in this locker room have ever been 2-6. Let's see how the Steelers respond the second half of the season.
It'll be a tall task for the black and gold, and of course covering that task nonstop is Mark Kaboly and Alan Robinson, TribLive.com. Print, photos, video, TribLive Radio for your audio. Of course, follow these guys on Twitter. They'll give you minute-to-minute updates on everything going on in Steeler Nation. That's going to do it. We'll see you next week to see where the Steelers season lies.